Hi, everybody. My name is Jaymie Bowles, and I am the owner of WJMS Media. We are the Raise Your Voice sponsor for the American Lung Association's Lung Force Walk in Manhattan, New York, Bridgewater, New Jersey, and Westchester, New York as well. And I'm very, very excited to be a part of this event because lung cancer is near and dear to my heart, being as though I am a stage 4 lung cancer patient myself. I was diagnosed in December of 2018 with ALK positive lung cancer, and it came from what I can only say was just a cough and a mild wheeze that I really didn't pay much attention to until it lingered for a little while. And then I went and got a little checkup to see what was going on, and maybe I had pneumonia that I let run too long or something was going on. And the doctor kind of wrote me off, unfortunately. They didn't pay much attention to me. And so I wasn't getting the support I needed from them, and I kind of just decided, unfortunately, that I was just going to deal with it, you know? And so at that same time, I was in a committed relationship, now married, and was 30 years old, hit that metabolism slow down, and started to gain a little bit of weight. And so I thought to myself, you know what? It's time to go to the gym and get a little bit more active. And so I got into kickboxing, and I got into it very heavy, and I loved it. And kickboxing became something that I did as fitness, as fun, and to be honest with you, it probably distracted me from my symptoms and masked my symptoms from me for a lot longer than it probably would have, had it not been for kickboxing. And so I ended up developing a shortness of breath around the end of summertime in 2018 or so. I got some really severe back pain that would come when I was standing on the subway and just doing regular activities of daily living. And I really just attributed it to high intensity cardio, unfortunately. It wasn't until I got that kick in the butt that I really needed to go and get a second opinion. And I went to NYU Langone, and the first thing the doctor asked me was, "Hey, have you had a chest x ray?" And I said, "No, I haven't." And nobody had asked me to do it before, and so it seemed a little strange. But I went up and I got my chest x ray done, and I came back downstairs, and I'll never forget all the blood had drained from his face as he told me that my entire left lung was covered in fluid and that he needed to admit me to the hospital immediately because he wasn't sure what was going on. So about a week or so later, a couple days later, I get into the hospital, and they end up admitting me, and they drained 2.5 liters of fluid out of my chest, which apparently had been there for a while. And I got a diagnosis of lung cancer that totally threw my life into a tailspin, and didn't know up from down and right from left, and I honestly just was blindsided by it. I'm a active non-smoker, no history of cancer in my family, and so this literally came from left field and knocked me on my butt. But it was, around that same time that they staged me, and I found out that it was stage 4, and it wasn't even an early detected cancer; it was a late stage cancer. And I really I didn't shut down, but I kept it close to my chest, and I didn't tell a lot of people at first. I just wasn't really sharing. It wasn't because I was embarrassed or ashamed. It was just something I kept to myself, and I finally got the courage to attend a lung cancer event in the community, and I ended up telling my story there. And there was a lady who had a remarkably similar story to me, and I felt seen and I felt heard, and I realized that there's a community of people in this world that understand what I'm going through and that I'm not alone, and it meant the world to me. And so from then on, I just became a diehard activist or advocate for lung cancer, and really just raising awareness to the fact that it's not a smoker's disease. I stand before you as somebody who never smoked with stage 4 lung cancer. So we've really only been getting half the story from these organizations and folks that have been telling us that smoking causes cancer. It does, but it's not the full story. And so I've really dedicated a lot of my journey and a lot of my time to trying to get rid of that stigma and really make people realize that the only thing you need to get lung cancer is lungs. And so lung cancer is actually the number one cancer killer of men and women in the United States, ahead of breast cancer, prostate cancer, and colon cancer. But it's so stigmatized that people just tend to not acknowledge it, unfortunately. And so I'm here today on behalf of WJMS Media and as a lung cancer patient myself to help erase the stigma. I am excited to talk to other survivors like myself in the community, and I'm excited to share their stories with you on behalf of my company, WJMS, and on behalf of the American Lung Association. And so I hope that you'll continue to hang out with us for not just one, but all 3 of these walks, and that you'll check out some of the survivors like myself and listen to their stories and their journeys, and that you'll understand that this can really and truly happen to anybody, and you'll take the proper steps to take care of yourself and your family. Thanks for joining me and listening to my story, and I will see you guys all over the place for the American Lung Association and hopefully in person at the Walk in Manhattan.